You're right. 45% of world oil, 22% of world gas comes from this region. It runs in fiscal surplus, current account surplus, investable surplus. The purpose of holding it here is to recognize the importance of it and making sure some of the resources which we generated out of hydrocarbon is being supplemented for additional advantage of renewables or for sustainability. So it makes sense wherever it is. It, of course, as you rightly said, it's one of the high per capita carbon emissions. But the same place can add value to global financial stability, global sustainability. That's the very purpose of the whole frame. UN conventions have a deep-rooted sense of commitments, right from Millennium Development Goals, environment sustainability. But so far, if you look at it after Kyoto Protocol pronounced in 1997, no significant actionable execution has taken place. 2007 in Bali, 2009 in Copenhagen, 2010 in Cancun, Mexico, 2011 in Durban are all more of a chat show. I mean, there were deliberations, there were decisions, but if you look at the bigger picture, we need time for execution. We need actions. This is a defining moment. The global growth is at stake. Global financial stability is at stake. Millennium Development Goals are very vital to have financial stability. We have to create green economies. And where do you start? You start from the place where there is a maximum carbon emission. And that's precisely the reasons I think it's a visionary leadership which brought this concept here. I'm sure the deliberations in the coming days will be converted into actions.
So in a way, you've brought the debates, you brought the conference to the heart of the problem. I mean, a country which was built to a large extent on gas and petrol development, and will continue to grow, presumably, still producing gas and oil. But the recognition is here, is it, in general, throughout the society in Qatar, that the problem needs to be dealt with?
Absolutely. If you look at the leadership in the region, not only Qatar, if you look at the bigger picture as such, they're all committed for reducing the carbon emission. They are committed for renewables. Solar, this region itself is at its own, 365 days sunshine. This is the place where you can generate, and they can self-sustain their own captive consumption by exploiting the sunshine. Wind, again, is a viable commercial model. So the purpose is to showcase the commitment and making sure, meaningful deliberations takes place and initiatives are taking place. This affluent society is also adding value for the non-hydrocarbon, for renewables, building green economies, building, again, renewables, making sure the advanced technologies for industrial process are adding value to carbon neutral process. Setting up carbon exchange is our mission again. So those are long-term values. Sustainability is the name of the game. Social responsibility is integral part of the overall economic vision as well.
What part does Doha Bank play in this process?
Significant part. As an institution, we have a committed mission as Green Bank. We declared 8 to 9 years before. We did knowledge disseminations around the world, right from Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Turkey, China, London, Frankfurt, again, Washington. In the fund meeting, we showcased why the bankers can add value. In terms of sustainability, we have a committed mission, whether lending or investments. I'm of the opinion, in terms of global governance, there has to be a universal standard, committed, proportion of the shareholders' money should go for green lending or green investments, water management, waste management, carbon neutral process, advanced industrial process which can reduce carbon emissions, again, building technologies which are greenish. So those are the options which we want to add values. That's precisely the reasons we are practicing at a retail space. At a wholesale level, we are committed for project space, lending those which are going to have sustainable values. When it comes to even the committed social responsibilities, we add value for with United Nations knowledge disseminations, eco schools programs we have done. We issued green credit cards. We also have long-term plans to have carbon exchange as a trading mechanism. We also want to factor environment into the trading, into Doha Development Round. So those are the principal purpose behind which the green mission of Doha Bank is actively pursued upon.
We're seeing increasingly that industry, that banks like your own and other banks are involved in the process, are convinced by the need to pursue green energy measures. Where are the obstacles? I mean, most people would say the politicians. Are they the only ones now holding back the process? I mean, what needs to be done here in Doha and beyond?
Well, we have to understand this is a nascent stage. It has to be measurable, manageable when it comes to lending or investments. So when it comes to projects of renewables or anything which focus on sustainability, it has to be a good commercial model. End of the day, it has to produce return, internal rate of return. And that's where the issue lies. The good commercial model is still evolving, number one. Number two, the advanced risk management techniques is not available in terms of measurable tools or manageable tools. That's a confusion most of the money lenders have got. The institutions who have got clear focus on commercial returns, they need to see the return versus risk versus return rather. So in concept, it's still, the development mechanism is evolving. Knowledge base is limited. Again, technology-wise, it's not converging in real order. Knowledge dissemination has not taken place as much as it should. So there are limitations in the overall project space, but I think institutions like us are closing the gap, trying to articulate solutions, trying to disseminate more and more, trying to integrate into the mainstream of lending or investments the overall green mission, where retail or wholesale level. We are trying to instill systems and procedures and policies and frameworks to make sure it becomes a mainstream practice of banking, and that's evolving. And that's where the investors need to be convinced. We need to make sure these are good commercial models. We need to make sure these the shareholders' funds are deployed, or mutual funds or funds which are mobilized from the public are deployed for right destinations, and right commercial model comes into perspective. That needs to be set in. As a design, it's evolving, but it has not taken great momentum, and that's where institutions like Doha Bank plays a vital role to propagate and practice.